How you doing, everyone? It's Joe here from Live and Learn. Thanks for pressing that button. This is the second video in the community questions series of vids that me and the guys are doing. A couple of people got in touch with me, a couple of new people starting out and wanted to know what all the fuss was about with the 5C's. So I thought I'd jump in and make a quick video and have a little chat about them and just kind of parlay what I know. You know, they don't have to be huge and robust. Mine all fit in my haversack. I actually bring extra accoutrements. People think the 5C's is what it's all about and what you need to aim to get to. And again, that's not a bad goal. It helps you learn and it helps you lose your responsibilities. But I actually prefer to see when someone does carry the 5C's, but then carry a little extras because they're out doing their own thing, you know, and making life easier for themselves. Now, I can't stress enough that the reason why we do what we do is in case these 5C's fail, learning to make water containers and stuff like that. Basically, most of bushcraft and survivalism is built up around not only being comfortable in the woods, but learning how to replicate these 5 essential items should they fail. Or should you lose them, or should you be caught without them? So we'll start off. This is in no particular order. There is 101 threads on 101 forums discussing which is most important out of all these things. I'm not about that. I'm not that type of guy. I'm just going to run through what it is that it should be carried, what you should carry. So the first up is a container, is the 5C's. Now, most of the 5C's, there's no real hard and fast rules to it. There is interchangeable objects depending on skill sets and what you like to do in the woods. But when it comes to container, there's no real kind of middle ground. It should be metallic, either aluminium, titanium, stainless steel. It should be single walled, and by that I mean no thermos, no insulated stuff, because they will explode in a fire. But just a litre, 32 ounces kind of minimum, because that helps you work out hydration levels, stuff like that. You need kind of 2 to 3 litres a day depending on your activity. So you want to alleviate the thought process. If you're in a hairy situation or a situation you're not planned on getting into, because bushcraft can become a survival situation very quick. In fact, glamping can become a survival situation very quick, canoeing and stuff like that. So you need to remove having to think, working on skills, repetitiveness and stuff like that. So with a litre, you're not second guessing yourself. It's not 2 litres, it's not half a litre, it's not 750 ml on the nose, and it works with water purification tablets. All the 5C's complement each other and work within each other in certain ways, which I hope to kind of get across. But the reason why it should be a steel container is it allows you to boil, to purify water. If you have one of the C's is cotton, if you have a bandana or a t-shirt or anything like that, you can put it around here. That's why I carry the Ranger bands. It acts like a small sediment filter. You can put it on the fire, boil your water up, you got good potable water to drink. But it also allows you to make char cloth around the fire. You can put a bit of t-shirt in here, or a bandana or a shamag, cover the hole, stick it upside down, do what you got to do. Sadly, these don't come with a metal lid, but you can make do. And you can make your char cloth in here, which allows you to affect further fires, next fire mentality you often hear some people talk about. So that's kind of where the container option has to be. Doesn't have to be round. You can get a kidney shaped one, you can get a tall one, clean canteen, doesn't matter. Just has to be something that you can put in the fire and boil in. The second one, and again, people argue about level of importance here, but to me they're all very important, is combustion. So container and combustion. Now, people vary these and switch these up, but at the end of the day, if someone is talking to me about the 5C's, or that they call themselves a survivalist or a bushcrafter or prepper or anything, and once they have something to help with fire, that's fine by me. Now, it could be a lighter, it could be a ferro rod, it could be a pack of storm matches, but you want something, anything at all. I prefer the ferro rod. I'm a smoker, so I carry a lighter on me anyway, but even if I wasn't, I have 2 or 3 in my various bags, little mini bics, stuff like that. I have a fire on my belt knife. So you can condense the 5C's down, but this is kind of the main stuff. So fire is important, and again, you can see that they kind of work off each other. These objects allow you to start the fire that is going to allow you to use your container to boil your water in. Now, the reason why people learn skills is so, should I lose this, well then I know how to stone boil, I know how to build containers out of bark that allow me to boil to purify water and stuff. And when you learn these things, it makes you realize how important having something like this is in a hairy situation. That saves you calories, it saves you time, and you can use it for multiple objects. Fire is the same. Now the next one up, and probably the most discussed one and stuff like that, is cutting. Now, does it have to be a big, stout, one-tooled option like this one here? No, there is no hard and fast rule to cutting once you have an effective way to do it. Now, when I am out in the woods, I am not a carver, I'm not a whittler. I don't normally go out to make spoons and stuff like that. I go out to practice with my kit and try out stuff in that sense. So something beefy and robust like this does me. I don't predominantly use axes and stuff like that, unless on that specific day I'm going out to make a water container or practice shelter building, but then I'll swap this out and I'll put an axe in its place and carry a smaller knife. And again, touching on that, you can have a knife like this, bushcraft knife, or the Mora bushcraft, 4 inches, nice handle, good ergonomics. I've had this years, very capable knife, and just about you would into the complementary range. And what I mean by complementary range is if you're going to start, if you carry something small enough like this, or I see people out in the woods and they carry something small like this, I love to see people with something supplementary behind it. Again, cater to your needs. If all you're going to do is go out and have some lunch and maybe try a small project, these bushcraft size knives are fantastic. And then, I mean, you can go out tailor-made with something like this, or like a smaller, kind of more custom-made one. Again, you can see bushcraft knives kind of have a rough, generic shape to allow you to make primitive sets and stuff like that. A great project knife. And there are some people who go out with just this. This is kind of a more precision, kind of a 106 Dilio. But when people go out with this, you need to be thinking to yourself, well, this isn't stout, it's not substantial, it's a carving knife at the end of the day. So you could be doing a task, break the tip, whatever. So you need to either alleviate those pressures and bring something with you that will allow you to do the jobs that this can't, or complement it with something like a backhoe here. Again, pretty small, but it allows you to do heavier work and use this to do your more precision work. So again, no hard and fast rule with cutting, but you just have to have cutting tools and jigger about to what you need to do. I'll leave that there for a minute. Next one up, cordage. Cordage is a very important one because again, it supplements these things. You can see here now the whole premise to survival, and arguably the starting of our introduction to bushcraft is fire, shelter, water. I know you can replicate these tools, but you want tools that allow you to do these three things really easy. So you got your cutting tools here that allow you to gather your timber and your fire making materials. You got your combustion device here that allows you to start your fire, and you got your container here that allows you to purify your water. So you can see here kind of the trinity of bushcraft and survival. Now cordage comes into play because again, this stuff is very hard to replicate, and it allows you to do other objects to gather food, build traps, build shelters, hang pots. I mean, cordage, it's got 101 uses, but if any of you have seen John Bishop's video on the channel or any other video about making natural cordage, it's a very hard process and very time consuming process, like all of the processes involved with these tools. But there's no excuse, or well, there's no real reason, sorry, not that there's no excuse, there's no real reason not to learn these things, but if you can have one that will save you that time and hassle, should your situation turn a bit rough, these are them here. It doesn't matter, again, unlike container and possibly combustion, there is no hard and fast rule. Some people only carry bank line, some people only carry paracord, some people only carry jute. I like to carry a mixture of the two. I carry a ridge line and I carry some 20-foot hanks of paracord or bank line in here, And the same in my hip pouch. I do have cordage on me everywhere because it's really hard to replicate and I don't like running out of it. In fact, if you fancy trying it, it's worth learning how to complete projects without cutting your main cord, because you could be out for a day, we say canoeing, and you're using cordage up, you're hanging a ridgeline, cutting the tail off it, you're building a tripod, you're cutting the tail off that, and your cordage is getting smaller and smaller and into more bits. Then you jump back in your canoe, or you start to go hiking again. You get into a situation where you got to sling up a shelter and stuff really quickly and stuff like that, and then you find out you ain't got enough cordage, and then all of a sudden then you're having to use skills that you've learned before, but it'd be best off not getting into that situation in the first place. So go out and make your cordage, make your natural cordage, and you'll see, yes, you'll have the skill to back it up if you lose it, but you'll see how important these things are. And the last one is cover. Now this is a very personal choice when it comes to it. Some people carry a foil blanket, some people carry the grabber space tarps, some people carry a full, this is a DD ultralight one that I have just stuffed into a sack here. This compacts down really small, and I don't mind putting it into the bottom of a haversack. It gives me options. What it does is just sits down the bottom of a haversack. It's really small, and then all these items would be layered up on top of it. But that allows you to throw up a shelter really quickly should the weather go bad, should you get trapped out overnight. Yes, you can build shelters. They're one of the easier things to learn how to build in bushcraft, but it's time consuming. If you're out in the lashings of rain and your clothes are getting wet and you're getting wet, you don't want to be spending 2 hours building a shelter. So it's nice to have something like that on you at the time. Now, what people fail to realize about cover too is your clothes are part of it. Your clothes are part of your kit. Now, I know everybody budgets vary, but in the market nowadays there really is something for everybody at everybody's price range. I'll never belittle anybody when it comes to money and stuff like that, or the quality of gear or labels or whatever it is that they choose to wear, once it's sensible. Try not to wear denim. You know, don't be wearing denim jeans out in the woods. Try to have a very good pair of boots, the best that your budget will allow, and have some clothes, rain cover clothes. Like if you're tipping out for the day, especially in Ireland, it's fairly unpredictable, but you can get really light rain jackets, or really light ponchos at a very reasonable price these days, and you can just sit them in your haversack like the way I have my tarp, and that is also part of cover. I see very few forums or threads where people talk about the importance of clothes and stuff. So where are we at? We're at 12 minutes, right? Well, I don't want to really ramble on, but for the guys that asked me, and for maybe people just curious about the 5C's, this is them. You got your container, your cutting, combustion, your cordage, and your cover. Now it does expand into 10. Again, that's where you're bringing your cotton into it. You know, I always, for example, one of the 10C's happens to be cotton, and this is also here to supplement its cleaning. It's this one here's a bandana, so it's a bandage. You can tear it up and put it in your bottle to make your char cloth, so you don't have to rip your clothes and stuff. Then there's a compass and stuff like that that's in there. If any of you are interested in seeing the 10C's, I don't mind, or I wouldn't mind doing a video on them too. But have a think about it. Again, I do supplement these. I do always have these on me, but as you all know, I carry dry bags, or I'll throw a bungee in. I love seeing people who have started off with the 5C's and then they add, and it just shows more about what you do in the woods than anything else. So I hope that helps. If you have 5C's or you want to drop them in the comments down below, or maybe tell me your 5C's and what you've swapped out or what you've done differently and if it has worked for you. If not, I'll see you all on the Living to Learn community. Have a good one, folks, and be safe.